What's the went through med school just to realize you couldn't stand the sight of blood of your job field? Had a teacher in my nautical academy that found out he was chronically seasick. My son's teacher had been in the Coast Guard, but found out she got seasick. She ended up doing something with supplies so she could stay off the ships. Friend went to become a vet tech before realizing she was allergic to cats, grew up with dogs only. Went through a rather longer apprenticeship learning how to cut meat just to figure out I couldn't stand the cold of the cutting room. Toughed it out long enough to get promoted to manager so I didn't have to be in it if I didn't want to be. Got a master's in engineering to realize I hate sitting at a desk all day. Many people become a lawyer only to discover they hate practicing law, because they didn't really understand what that meant when they went to law school. Law is very boring, involves a lot of rote work which has little practical effect on a case, and is ultimately soul-sucking. Being a lawyer involves very little grandstanding in courtroom. Many lawyers never do that. Even trial lawyers, like you see on TV, only get a couple trials a year at best, and some go years between trials. The only kinds of lawyers in court every day are criminal attorneys. I'm in law school, and recently realized that I hate reading boring shit. It's going great. Working in an office, realizing I hate 90% of office culture. I swear I'm not the social anxiety-ridden depressed Redditor you may be picturing me as. I'm fairly extroverted and social, but damn it I hate office bants, the implied need to look busy, the implied need to stay long, the high school-esque need for conformity. Anything that's weird gets a comment. Teaching writing in college because I really enjoy writing, even academic writing. Turns out I hate reading shit though, and that's all the job is. I went to massage school with a girl who realized she didn't want to touch people for a living. I guess not a lot of thought went into her decision to join massage school. That, or she thought she was going to message school. Human resources. Went through school to realize I couldn't lay someone off. Honestly, terminations for cause are pretty bad, but at least they did something to cause it. I'm talk about downsizing. Graphic design. You design for clients, not yourself. You don't get to have a bunch of fun making goofy shit you like. Has anyone said chef afraid of knives? Chef afraid of knives here. Going to film school, then working on a real set. Learning the hierarchy and the unions, many moving pieces, and politics really makes you start to hate the industry and really turns you off. Ask a person in film and TV production, how long have you been working in the industry? Most people's response? Too long. I work in a pathology/bacteriology lab, so basically if you're at all squeamish, you've got no chance. I took swabs from a chunk of necrotic tissue on my second day, and I'll never look at fried mushrooms the same way again. In dental school, we dissected cadaver heads and necks. Turns out the inside of a dead man's nose looks an awful lot like sliced portobello mushrooms. Spend years learning about electricity and circuit design only to discover you are colorblind and can't determine which wire is which. I had nightmares in college about failing lab finals because I had been afflicted with spontaneous colorblindness. I was dead set on being a video game developer. Started in QA, saw the endless hours of crunch, the devs working 80+ hour weeks without showers or shaving, smelled the funk of hundreds of unwashed bodies, the crossed fingers at reaching publisher milestones for bonuses that would hopefully make it all worthwhile, and the constant fear that they wouldn't get picked up for the next project so they could keep getting paid and keep making mortgage payments. Decided that I'd rather be in systems in lieu of development and never looked back. I own an in-home childcare. I hate germs, boogers, poop and messes. Going to school for vet nursing or veterinary med and then realizing you are scared of certain animals like mice or rats. Teaching as a whole. The burnout is real, especially for high school, middle school. 150+ students a day, lesson planning, 9+ hour days, work at home, etc. A lot of people just stick with it 4 years due to teach grants, or if they can make it the 10 years so that their loans are forgiven. The empathy fatigue and burnout is real. First year teacher, but I love it. I just see it everywhere. Being a mover, we would frequently go through new hires that can't hang. You would laugh at how many times we've walked into a house and the new guy goes, "We have to move all of this." And I go, "Yay, twice." Or when a customer asks to move one thing again because they found a new spot, or there is a couch at the new place to move, I see people just get disheartened and annoyed. Bitch, that's our job. You are here to move people's things until they do not need you to move their things anymore. You are also getting paid by the hour, so STFU. Moving attracts some amazingly hard-working and kind people, and also bottom-of-the-barrel digits. Every day is interesting lol. Taking computer science classes so I could be a programmer. I never really had issues with dyslexia that much until I had to take college-level math. After 3 years of repeated failing algebra, I was like, this is just turning out to be a big waste of time and money. I had to give up on my dream job. Spent a lot of time honing my voice and manner skills because I seemed to have a talent for customer service. The only problem is I figured out that I hate people in general. Going through rigor school to safely secure loads to a crane only to refuse to work at heights before that, going all the way through basic and tech training, and the first year on your first duty station, just to break down into a sobbing wreck at the prospect of your first deployment ever, to the safest base in the region. When I got my first job and realized I can't sit for 12 hours a day in a desk chair. I'm a programmer, so that's been a huge problem in my career. Started my own freelance business, then realized I hate people, I hate kissing ass, and I hate stressing about clients paying on time. My friend applied to be in the RAF. Failed the medical because he is colorblind. This was the first he knew about it. He was 21. Went to school for firefighting, had a classmate drop out because he was afraid of heights. I can't think of one for my field, web development, other than getting into the profession only to realize you hate a specific language or part of the development process. I know a lot of people who do server-side work, and are great with all kinds programming languages, but loathe working with CSS. I work for a news feed. We had to boot one person who seemed to have emotional issues with doing AP-style headlines for some reason. Sound engineer. I'm sensitive to loud noises. Should have thought that one through. I work for 911 and it's pretty difficult and long hiring process to get on board. People go through hoops that take a few months to find out they can't handle the stress of emergencies. Not that I fault them, most people haven't had to deal with real emergency situations before. Bartending. Going through years and years of being hazed by co-workers and regulars, constantly being given the shittiest jobs, sometimes literally, in the entire bar, all the back pain from stocking heavy-ass shit, being the last one to leave almost every night. All that just to find out you don't like dealing with people at all, especially when they're drunk, that or you're sober, which I've seen a couple times and just seems awful. I like playing video games and Facebook, and I'm sick of my parents telling me to stop playing computers, so I'm going to study computer science. RCS graduating class was about 25% the size of the freshman class thanks to these people. During all my part-time jobs through high school and college, I never accepted a managerial position because I know I don't like being in charge of people and I didn't want that kind of responsibility. Cue me graduating from college and taking a job as a project manager, and hating it for the last 2 years up until this very moment as I type this comment in my office. Auditing health and safety in industrial food processing areas. The slaughterhouse audits get to people. I hate the feeling of not being in control of an aircraft, and get nervous when flying in jets as a passenger. I am also a pilot. Go into finance only to find out you have ethics. Went through the engineering process because everyone says things like you played with Legos as a kid, you'd be great at this, only to learn that I just sit in a desk running tests all day and it's boring as all too. I went to college to be a teaching golf professional, the guy who works at your local course. Halfway through my time there I realized I fucking hated working with other golfers. We're annoying as hell and we all think we're special. So, I quit that shit and got a poli-sci degree. I officially enjoy going to the golf course again, especially after dealing with local politicians all day. I did some further education in order to manage offshore structures, but now I have a real moral issue with how the rich can afford to avoid tax, even though they had the money to pay tax, whereas the poor struggle to make ends meet and have no way to avoid tax.
Thanks for watching, subscribe for more.